everyone, welcome to SportsKhabri and arunfoot. Arunava. We're here to talk about India's route into round three of the World Cup qualifiers. It's sort of interesting and exciting now because India won one game, an important away win against Kuwait, but then we lost 3-0 to Qatar a couple of days ago. It becomes really interesting and intriguing because if you look at the table right now, we've got Qatar on top. They won both their games, Afghanistan and India. Then you've got Kuwait in second, who just beat Afghanistan. You've got India in third, we're behind on goal difference, and Afghanistan on fourth. So a few fixtures, very important fixtures. There's some context that we'll also have to put to these fixtures, especially with regards to Afghanistan. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Your first reactions after the first couple of games have been completed.
I am happy that we have 3 points on the board. I think, if we're realistic, Kuwait was a team with which we battled in the SAF Cup in June, July in Bangalore, and who were of our level. They didn't play well, the Kuwaitis. We were good with our defensive setup, and we scored when it was needed of us. And a first away win in a World Cup qualifier since 2001, since winning in Brunei, talks about our so-called away form. So this is historic, and these 3 points could be the most vital 3 points in our quest to qualify for round three, because we are 3 points ahead of Kuwait. I think that's what was needed, and I take Qatar out of this equation, out of this group. Qatar is likely to get 18, 16 points most probably from their 6 games. So the matchup is really against Kuwait. But now we have the equation of Afghanistan. Afghanistan had a lot of issues in the last few weeks where their first team didn't play, had problems with the federation in the AFF, therefore conceded 8 goals. Team somewhat came back, lost 4-0 to Kuwait.
Yeah.
And now it's our task. I think the March window is a very, very crucial one for us, because I go back to that 2001 World Cup qualifying campaign where we caused a huge upset by beating the United Arab Emirates at home in Bangalore. And we won both the games against Brunei, but we drew twice against Yemen, home and away, 1-1 and 3-3. The UAE leapfrog Yemen and India, get into the next round of qualifiers. And therefore, we should not forget, we're thinking a lot about Kuwait, but the March window is very, very crucial for us to try and get those 6 points against Afghanistan, because if we have 6 points, we're on 9. We already have an advantage, so to say, over Kuwait. If Kuwait is not able to score some sort of upset and get a result against Qatar. And secondly, we don't lose to Kuwait at home, because if we get those 7 points, it's very likely with 10, India would finish second in the group.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of mathematics in there, because I'm not taking the last match in Qatar, in Doha, into the equation. Because I'm leaving that out. I'm calculating that if we get something, a huge bonus. But if we can secure it by match day 5, our qualification for the next round, again, it'll be historic. And it's something which we need to try and evolve and develop as a national team. Very, very crucial. Because there are 2 things. We talk always about the World Cup qualifiers. What we forget is that if you get into the third round of the World Cup qualifiers, you automatically qualify for the next 2027 AFC Asian Cup, which for us is the most important thing, I feel. Very, very crucial for us to be able to play every 4 years in that competition.
Fair enough. Arunava, the next 2 fixtures, like you mentioned, are probably going to be the most important. We need 6 points out of those 2 games against Afghanistan. Play both of them in March. Now, the interesting part is, of course, that Afghanistan did not play their first team for their first 2 matches. Do you see the situation around the Afghanistan football team settling down by March, and then potentially India having to play a tougher Afghanistan team? And do you think that could sort of throw a spanner into the works of India?
See, I'm not an expert on Afghanistan football, so therefore, for me to be able to judge that would be difficult. But I feel they've sorted out some of the stuff. I guess they will sort out the rest of the stuff. So, let's expect that we're going to face the toughest Afghanistan in March.
Yeah.
There are interconnections. Some of them have played in India in the I-League, ISL. Harun Amiri, most probably the most well-known player, to have played many, many years in India. Last time around when we played Afghanistan away, we had to come back with a late draw. I think it was Len Dungal, if I'm not wrong, in somewhere in Central Asia. I think it was Dushanbe, if I'm not wrong. And again, our away form has been our issue. I expect us to beat Afghanistan at home. Shouldn't be, a question that we beat them in Guwahati when we play in the Indira Gandhi Athletic Stadium. But the away game, the first game in March, is going to be very, very crucial. We need to get those 3 points. If we are able to get those 3 points, if we are able to get those 6 points in March, then our passage towards the third round looks a lot easier. And it puts also a lot of pressure on Kuwait to be able to, they have to get a result against us when they come to India in June. So therefore, for us, if we look at all these permutations which are there, if I again say that Qatar is likely to win all their matches, it's going to be a challenge now for Kuwait. And Kuwait has 2 matches against Qatar in March. I know that they upset them in a friendly and all that kind of stuff, but the way we saw Qatar play on the 21st of November in Bhubaneswar, Carlos Queiroz is working on his team, and they're only going to get better, and that is something which we have to factor in. Therefore, again, Qatar, not our cup of tea. Kuwait, Afghanistan are. Sort both of them out, qualify for the third round.
Arnav, it takes us nicely onto the other important game, which is India Kuwait at home. Say we do get 6 points from the 2 Afghanistan games, will be placed on 9. But assuming that Kuwait will win both their games against Afghanistan, they're on 6 points. How important, under the pressure that we have to get a result out of that game, most probably a draw would be enough against Kuwait at home. Do you think the boys will be able to handle that pressure? When was the last time you remember we've experienced such immense pressure going into one of these World Cup qualifiers?
2001 Yemen, as I said, 3-3
Mhm.
draw, 1-1 draw. We and again, both matches which India should have won, we couldn't do it at the time. And if we look at also other matches, 2007 Lebanon, we lost 4-1 in Lebanon on a very rainy day at the Ambedkar Stadium. It was more water polo than football. We only drew Lebanon 2-2 under conditions which I think the Lebanese are not used to. So we have failed in these kind of situations, to be very honest, in World Cup qualifiers. But if I look at other competitions, especially the AFC Challenge Cup, which we won a few times, the Nehru Cup, which we won in those days, we can handle that kind of pressure. I think the pressure, it also to some extent depends what Kuwait does against Qatar. If they're able to even draw one of those games, that's going to give them a boost. So for us, very, very important, before we get into June, the March FIFA window for us is at the moment crucial, so that we win those 2 games. If we win those 2 games, we're on our way. If we draw away to Afghanistan, that does put some pressure on us, because
Fair enough.
Kuwait has won away from home against Afghanistan. Of course, in this situation, I think it's easier to play Afghanistan now than most probably in March. But again,
Yeah.
they got the 3 points, and also they got a 4-0 win. That puts, plus 4 goals into their kitty. And we
Yeah.
lost 3-0 to Qatar.
Yep. Important, very important, of course. Now goal difference sort of into the picture as well. I don't know, like you said, I think the most important thing, get those 6 points against Afghanistan, and a result against Kuwait at home should probably get the job done. This is what we feel. 10 points should be enough to push India into round 3 of the World Cup qualifiers. I don't know, anything else that you think could potentially happen here? Do you see goal difference coming into it, or get 10 points and it should be fine?
I think ideally we would get 12,
Mhm.
then we're sorted. If we have 12 points, we are done. The 10 points could be tricky if Kuwait by any chance pick up points against Qatar.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think that is a calculation we need to keep in mind. And therefore, again, forget the maths. I think it's very simple. Win the next 3 matches. You're on 12 points. You're done. You're sorted.
Yeah.
That needs to be the aim for Igor Stimac and his team. And I hope they are able to do it. And we create history by finally qualifying for the third and final round of the Asian qualifiers.
Awesome. That's well said. there you have it, guys. Three wins will certainly guarantee India's round three qualification. So, yeah, thanks, Arnav. Please do like, share, and subscribe to everything that we do. Subscribe to the channel Sports Khabri Arun Foot, and join us next time. Thanks, Arnav.
Thanks and bye.